Hi, my name's Greg and today I'm going to talk to you about how to hold a camera, specifically Sony cameras. I hear many people say the grips are too small for people to be able to hold them comfortably, and I've even seen people with pictures with blisters on their hands and things. Now I've been shooting Sony for quite a few years now. Before that I've shot Canon and Nikon. All that time, absolutely no problem with my hands. So I'm thinking, am I holding it funny? Is it something I'm doing differently to whatever the people are doing, to find that the grip on the camera makes a huge difference as to how long it's comfortable to hold for? Well, let's take a look. So I've got a Canon here. This is my 1200D. People would always say the grip's a little bit small on this. Your hands fit there okay. Traditional SLR shape. I tend to always grip things here a little bit by the lens. Maybe that's why my hands don't hurt so much. So this is a Canon. I've still got my old Nikon F5 here. The grip is absolutely massive, so there's no way you can say the grip's too small on this camera. Got a built-in vertical grip. There's no way your little finger's going to fall off the camera here. It's all massive, so no problem there with the grip. So let's move on to ones that might be a bit more problematic. Here's a Panasonic mirrorless camera. It's probably one of the biggest mirrorless cameras, a bit more SLR size in terms of size, things like that. Here, if I put my hand on the shutter, you can see my pinky finger stays on there. So if I grip that really hard, then I can just control the camera like this. No problems. This is where things get a little bit more interesting. Here's like an A7R3 with a 7200 on. This is on the F4, so it's not quite as heavy as the F2.8 version. But equally, you can see here, there's not a massive amount of space between the grip and my fingers. I've got quite a small hand, so they fit in there. So I can imagine if you're trying to grip in there and you've got bigger hands, that might be a problem. But I find the easiest way to hold these things is, as you can see, you hold it by the lens. You don't really want to be holding a lens like this by the body. And then I just sort of rest my hand there. You see my pinky finger goes sort of underneath there as a cradle. And in terms of the amount of pressure I've got on the grip, it's really not very much. I'm just kind of guiding it. Most of the weight is in my left hand here. So I'm holding the lens with the left hand with the little tripod collar. And, no problem at all. I can hold it like this. Just having my hand on there, pressing the shutter button when I need to, so I'm not really gripping the body and moving it around too much when I take the picture, but maybe that's easier with a bigger lens like this. Let's look at something that people might have used a bit more maybe, and to make things worse, or better as the case may be, then I'm actually going to use a 6300. So here we can see, the body almost looks comical on the sides here, but again, we've not got a huge space there. So if I put my hand there, you can see there's not much space between the body and the lens. But again, I'm just going to hold the lens in my left hand, and I'm going to use the other hand to just sort of lightly touch the trigger. So again, I'm just guiding the body with my other hand, and I think that's all there is to it. I've never really gripped the camera super hard with my hands. So I never really get hand fatigue, even if I shoot 12, 14 hours. I'm holding it by the lens primarily. And I actually find the Sonys are easier to do that because the body is, here, for example, you can see the lens actually comes below the body. So, if I was to put this on a tripod, if it was a really long plate, then I might actually have trouble putting that on. But for handheld use, I'm just going to hold the lens, cradle my pinky finger is going to sort of go underneath here. So that's just adding a bit of stability that way, but it's not really much in the ways of stability. Maybe it's because I've got fairly small hands, who knows, but I've not found a problem in terms of holding it. If you want to put in the comments how you hold your camera, maybe it's easy for me because I hold it strange or something like that, but hopefully you found that useful in terms of ways you can hold your Sony camera and small cameras without giving yourself hand cramps or blisters or anything like that. And thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.